Happy Halloween! Hello and welcome everyone to GuildGab episode 15. This is a show where we talk about anything and everything Guild Wars 2, focusing on PvE and lore. It is our Halloween special because right now blood and madness is going on in the game. And it is fun times, lots of loot, lots of fun, lots of new rewards. Let me introduce my co-hosts first. I'm Aurora Peachy, and to my left I have Dr. Hank McCoy is joining us today.
Greetings, darlings. How are you?
And we have Corvus today. We keep switching.
We keep switching our Brits.
We do. Someday we will have all four.
It's the same person. You know?
Yeah, we're convinced that they're the same person until we have both of them on webcam at once, because that's never happened. So right now you're, I don't know, Corvalex.
Corvalex, I like that. The Corvalex.
Unfortunately, I'm not dressed up, though. I feel bad about not dressing up, but hey, I'm scary enough. It's fine.
You can be grungy Scottish guy. 1990s grunge Scottish guy.
So we had the return of Blood and Madness.
Yes,
we
this
did.
year. What have you guys been concentrating on doing in game this Halloween, or have you been taking part in the festivities?
I've been farming a lot. The trick-or-treat bags.
Yeah,
it's just a
the
good way to. Yeah, just a lot of gold involved.
That's all I've been doing too. I've just been farming the labyrinth non-stop. Monday night I did guild missions, and then like Tuesday I had a stream where I did the clock tower, and other than that, labyrinth. All my Guild Wars 2 time has
whole
been the
time.
I opened up over 500 trick-or-treat bags yesterday on stream. No mini, no amulet, no nothing special, but filled up my inventory with candy corn.
The hardest part of this whole patch is like, you know, you'll get out the labyrinth and you'll have a crap ton of the trick-or-treat bags, and it's the decision to sell them or not. You know, to open them or to make loads of money, and it tends to be opening them. Like, it's just far too tempting.
so much fun. It feels good.
To me, it's
like,
fun opening them. I'm just looking at these stacks. I'm like, oh my god, I could sell a stack for like 12 gold right now, or more, probably more than that. And I'm like, I really should just sell these.
Yeah.
But it's so tempting to just sit there and click and click and click and click and see what you get.
Well, just to be different, my time is spent in the Lunatic Inquisition. Because I like being insane. But yeah, it's it's really funny because normally I can't stand PvP and I suck at it. In like WoW, which I love and stuff. Whenever I play PvP there, I suck at it. I just can't do it. Everybody's moving so freaking fast. I don't know how they do it. And like I'm like a clicker, so I'm like trying to click on like everyone, and like they're all going do 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 do, and all of a sudden I'm dead. I'm like, what? Oh, fuck. Whereas like in Guild Wars 2, whenever I do like the Lunatic Inquisition, it's not like that. It's like fair. It's like fun, you know, and like so I've been addicted to the Lunatic Inquisition for like hours and hours, and that's how I like get my stuff is just through that. So
that's cool. And you're not normally a PvPer.
No,
and
not
you're
at all.
loving the Inquisition. That's really cool.
I love it
really
to bits. Yeah, it's just so thrilling being both sides of like being like chased by everyone and being really sneaky and watching them come by and then like clicking your like little like invisible thing for 10 seconds and they totally go right by you, and it's like and they like go away and like you and just like this is my quick little story about it, is that as like the people being pursued, you can like pick up little weapons along the way, so like the goblet spiderweb or like the torch, and I love throwing a torch in people's faces because they do like screaming, and it's so much fun because this one time I was being such a little nasty beastie because what happened, right, was that there's like, if you can imagine like this little stretch of roughly like yay long, so like I'm like getting chased by this one person. I'm like getting chased by it. I like go over here and I've got like a torch, and he's coming very slowly because they always move slower. I throw the torch at him, and then I quickly like barrel out and goes like quick escape. And I go running this way, but then there's like another little weapon here. I pick it up, and he's like coming very slowly, and I wait. And I throw it at him, and then I go down this way, and then stop. And then I pick up another weapon, and he comes this way, and I throw it at him. And he's like, ah! And I keep going to run this way, and I keep on doing this little like thing like this. I'm like, I must be really pissing this person off because I'm just like constantly like throwing the thing at him, and then like moving just a little bit, like 10 feet away, and then I do it again, and then I move the other way back. I'm just like, this is really fun. This is Halloween for me.
That's awesome. See,
I love it.
It's so great. A lot of people have been upset because it's the same story from last year. It's Blood Madness over again. But so I'm so happy to hear that you've found something, even though it's the same thing as last year.
I know.
Something that only comes around for 2 weeks, and you're having a blast with it. And
yeah, love it. It's like King Thorn is there, and it's just, I don't know, it's a really cool groovy atmosphere because it's like just the players. It's in that really wicked atmospheric labyrinth, and you can do stuff like this, and it's like it can be a bit boring sometimes, but other times it can be really like intense. It's like, oh crap, everyone's coming after me, and you're like just running around. Then you can do these little like wonderfully annoying things to people where you just like suddenly turn around and go, and then like, you like run past them. It's like it just feels good. It feels good.
It's been really interesting though, because a lot of people are annoyed because it is the same content as last year. But I mean, we've not been able to do this stuff for a year, and I think if it was Super Adventure Box or something, even if it was the exact same, everyone everyone would be like, point. And I've seen a lot of people say, I don't care if it's the exact same, I just want them to bring it back. And I think, like, what's the difference? Like, we're not able to play this the rest of the year, so it's still, it's good to get into, do you know what I mean?
That's why I'm doing
at least we're getting something.
Non-stop, because I have 2 weeks to do it, and that's it. So I'm going to, and it's something different. And I'm
what? I'm going to just, like, say right here is that I prefer Halloween to Super Adventure Box, so
whoa!
I prefer to that. I actually
agree. Super
really
Adventure
do.
Box is not my thing, but I know that there's a ton of people who are just obsessed with it. So I really wish they would bring that back too.
I'm too much of a goth. It's like, no, I'd much rather have Insane Lunatic Inquisition. Thank you.
Did you guys see the exploit that you can do in Lunatic Inquisition?
No, I haven't played it at all.
There's this trick on one side of the map where you can jump up a vine and basically get on top of the walls. So if you're the people that everyone's looking for, you can just hide up there. And
what? That would be cool, just to be on top of the walls, to see the whole maze.
Yeah.
That would be cool. I have to do that now. I think you have to, I think there's an achievement for playing 8 games of the Inquisition, and I haven't done that yet, so I'm going to have to do that. And I like that it's just play 8 games. You don't have to win 8 games so it's not frustrating if you just want to go and get the achievements, but you still have to, spend some time and play the games.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what I really like about it, because whenever I've tried to do the labyrinth, there's never a Zerg around or group for me to go with, and they're usually kind of dicks, and they never like wait, and they're always running really quick, and they never help out very much, and they're usually in their little groups. When you try to get after them, it's like so easy to lose them, and all of a sudden I'm surrounded by all these things, and I don't really manage to get anything out of it. And whereas if I just keep playing game after game after game in the Lunatic Inquisition, I still get all of these treat bags regularly, and it doesn't matter if I quote win or lose, because everybody gets turned into a ghosty thing, and then it ends, and you get your loot, and it's a wonderful, fun little way to just keep doing it that way. So for me, it's just perfect for that.
I was really glad. I was really glad that they added the Halloween reward track to PvP as well, because I've just been playing more of that, like waiting for the story. I've just been doing the more competitive stuff instead. But I was actually kind of disappointed. The rewards kind of don't match up as well. Like, you don't get as many bags, like, for how much time you can put in. And maybe it's just because the farm is so easy to, the labyrinth is just so easy to get. Yeah, exactly. But I don't know, especially given, like, because I'll play the tournament stuff, so it's like queuing for ages. It just adds to the time spent and stuff like that. It's kind of a shame. And as well, like, the final reward for it is just a Halloween pail twice. It's just a 20 slot bag. So, I mean, that's really good, but you can get 3 cobs or something like that just so easily from the labyrinth and stuff. It's kind of like, And it's like, I mean, we've said this before on GuildGab, but like, I really miss the old like meta achievement awards, like getting the unique back piece or something like that
Oh,
from
I miss
the
that so
content,
much.
completing this many achievements and getting something actually meaningful. And it just tends to be like, 5 or 10 bags of relevant loot at the time
Right.
is for the reward.
Yeah.
And like I was like, I'm gonna put in the time and effort to do the Halloween achievements, but they made it so that you can do the Halloween dailies and that still counts towards it. So
Mm-hmm.
like without even realizing I finished it like in the first day, just because like I'd focused on it for a little while and then managed to get my daily, and then suddenly I'd already done it, and it didn't, I don't know, it just didn't feel that important, and it's a shame
Yeah.
because it really did, all the way through season 1.
The doggy chorus. The puppy chorus.
I had a comment, but I was interrupted. Going back to what you said about the back pieces, I totally agree that I miss them, and I wish that they would. I just wish that they would do something like even just a palette swap. Give us the same back piece. Give us, Mad Memories was kind of had some lore in with it, but just call it something different. Call it, Prince Edric's Memories or something, and make it
Yeah.
a blue flame or something, or instead of orange, make it red. And then you don't have people complaining that, oh, I'm never gonna get this back piece because I didn't play back then. So then you wipe away those complaints because people can get the back piece, but you still wipe away complaints that, oh, but I was there, and so this shows that I was there and I got it. Well, if you have the orange version, then you were there. It's the same as the Super Adventure Box, the Tribulation Mode weapons.
Exactly.
It's the exact same thing, but it's a different color, and just that color shows off your achievement. It shows off you were there, but they didn't have to design a whole new weapon.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It was just, because that's a good point actually. The Super Adventure Box weapons were pretty cool for that, because you could play through like the first world or whatever, or the first zone or whatever it was, I can't remember. Get this specific color, and it's still you getting that reward. It still feels really good, and obviously now that means a lot because you were there and you managed to do it. But yeah, the harder you worked and the more you struggled with it, the payoff was a lot better. You had that color, which obviously shows you were that much better at it. And yeah, that could totally be something they could have done this year with this. But hey, whatever.
I love my witch outfit and my Tequatl wings and my mini candy corn.
Exactly.
I'm like hoping that like this is like just for like this year, and that next year like they'll replace the Bloody Prince with something else, because it was okay to do it one more time, but because I really do love the atmosphere and the games you do in this Halloween event, and just because Samhain and Halloween is my favorite gothy holiday anyways, is that I really do hope that they can put that extra oomph into it next year, because they can make these so much fun when they do those, and I really hope that they don't just be like, oh, we're just going to keep recycling it. And I go, guys, please add more little bits. Like if they're adding up to something big, which I think we can all agree like they probably are doing it, that's why they said that it's just going to be the same thing. I just really hope that next year they do something different with the Halloween event, story-wise, like have a new story sequence. I really hope they do that.
At least we got new rewards. We got a new outfit, we got new minions.
Definitely. And I really like all of them, but it just, again, it didn't take me that long to get everything. Like it really didn't. But I mean, I guess that's not the point of it. So I don't mind. I'm still having fun. There's still reasons to play the content, and everyone is still playing it.
Yeah.
Should we move on?
Something interesting I wanted to mention real quick was the something you can get out of the both in the gem store and out of the trick or treat bags is the foil wrapped candy wrappers.
Right.
And I think that's such a cool idea. And I love that it's not just you have the option of buying them in the gem store. So if you got some cash to lay down and you want extra raffle tickets, to get the first year Halloween skins, you can buy them from the gem store, and they're like a quarter a piece or something. They're like 25 gems. And but they also come out of trick or treat bags. So if you farm up those trick or treat bags, I think I have like 10 wrappers or something. I haven't handed any in yet. I have to remember to do that before Tuesday, or I'll be very mad.
What do you use the wrappers for again?
You hand them into this Squirt and Lion's Arch, and he basically at the end of the 2 weeks is going to choose a random wrapper. You know, it could belong to anyone, and they get rewarded with some skins. When
I gotta do that. I got like one. So
yeah.
Sure
You might win. Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people got annoyed about it because it was like another RNG thing, and it was something that it was kind of pay to win because you could buy gems and just buy loads of them and stuff. But I actually think it's a really cool idea, because if they'd made the skins like just available to earn in game or something, everyone who has them from, you know, a couple of years ago would have been really annoyed about it, because it's like they were there, it's their exclusive skin that's worth loads, and the price would go down for them, they would be worth a lot less. So I think this is a really good way of them adding them into the game without making them so everyone can get them. And yeah, congratulations to whoever wins.
Right. I think it's fun. I mean, people are, you know, who have handed in wrappers are going to be like, come on, am I going to log in? Am I going to have a mail? Am I going to have a skin? You know, it's exciting.
It is totally exciting.
They've never really done anything like this before, a raffle like this, so I think it's fun.
Totally. Yeah. Plus, I mean, it is like winning the lottery as well. The skins are worth so much, like on the trading post. So, yeah, you can totally strike gold if you get this. And I've been wanting the Scythe skin for my Necromancer for long. So, yeah, that'd be really nice. Thanks, ArenaNet, in advance for sending me one.
I think
one of the parts about Halloween that we haven't mentioned is the clock tower, which I finally beat yesterday.
Oh yeah!
Yay! Congratulations!
I've still not done it.
Took me an hour and a half.
That's the rewards for that aren't that good either. I mean, even like the actual gloves you get, like they're this, you know, I think they're from other armor sets, which is a shame. Yeah,
I had all the skins and I've never beaten the clock tower before.
I'm still gonna try though. I've been trying.
Yeah. Oh, I'm happy. I'm
couple
just happy I beat
times.
it. I was like, I get stuff too. Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I've been trying a couple times every day, but I get annoyed at it really quickly. The thing is as well, like you see people on YouTube and stuff that have done it like first try, or you know, like they say it's the thing that once you get it down, you can do it as many times as you want afterwards and stuff like that. But I totally don't have the patience for it, you know, to get it down.
That's how
like,
I was the first 2 years. I was just like, actually, the past 2 years I didn't do it because I had an old computer, so even the frame rate was crap. And, you know, but so that definitely helped this year, actually having a good frame rate, being able to see where I'm jumping.
Yeah, exactly.
Huge help.
So that's the thing, like, I absolutely love it. I think it's genius. I think the design of it all is amazing, and it's just such a good thing to have. It's you don't really see anything like that in other MMOs at all, like, just jumping puzzles in general, and I think, like, wow, what a way to punish your players. But I think it's amazing. It's like such a well-designed map, and I just think it's great.
Yeah.
I just wish I could do it.
I just love having like my final thing for it is just I really do love having these holiday events, and the best ones I've had have been in Guild Wars 2, and like this and Winter's Day, they just help accentuate the actual holidays that you're celebrating, and definitely for an MMORPG, if you don't have these events and some good ones, then I really find that a detriment to your game if you don't do some fun, good holiday ones. I mean, some people can say it takes you out of the game, but I don't think it does. It's more just because we all know we're playing video games, so why not, upgrade the holidays you have by doing this? Yeah. Because like I really love doing this. It's like I don't need to go out to a party. I feel fine just playing Halloween in my MMOs. You know?
I mean, as well, like Guild Wars has like lore reasons for it as well. It's not just even Winter's Day as well as the whole is Grenth another god? That's the whole season. It's meant to be about that. Okay. That's it. Yeah.
Grenth versus Duena.
Yeah, and it's like this cool like lore reason to have it. And on top of that, it's like it is just a lot of fun, and everyone gets together. Yeah, it's Winter's Day. Yeah. But I just think it's like that and Christmas to incorporate them in and give them lore kind of backgrounds. it's just a really good reason to have people come together and like just have fun in. And as well, like I know that when I think of Halloween, it's probably gonna come back to me like, oh, what were you doing Halloween 2014 or something? I'm gonna be like, well, I did that thing, you know, in real life, and also I was,
And also,
you know,
Yeah.
jumping
I beat
off
the
a
clock
clock tower. Yeah, exactly.
Or
I
I
don't know,
really
and
messed with and kited this guy in the Lunatic Inquisition.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly,
yes.
yeah.
I don't know. I think it means a lot more than people think. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if say it wasn't going on just now, the whole season would just feel weird. Like,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
would.
I feel
Well,
just think
like
it's
yeah,
like a-
because
something.
well, like that's like the problem with like WildStar, for instance, that we were talking before the show, was that they've unwisely, I think, very unwisely, considering they launched in like May, I think it was. You know, like it's like you guys don't have the time to make some kind of Halloween or winter event. Like really,
Yeah.
They didn't do anything?
really,
for
guys? Yeah,
WildStar?
they've
Yeah.
yeah
WildStar
they've
canceled
they've like
Christmas.
canceled Christmas.
No!
They canceled Christmas and Halloween.
No, that's
Well, they don't
terrible.
have, and like they're basically having their one big content drop in November, but they don't have any kind of Halloween or Christmassy
Yeah.
event, like nothing. And it's like
I just think it's a
that's-
shame. I mean,
that's
I
like
think
taking the
those-
spirit out of your people. It's like, oh, it's like
I think those kind of things, like, it really gives the world, it makes it feel a lot more alive and stuff like that. Because
does
if it was, you know, a believable, like, proper world, then they would have festivals and stuff like that. It's why I was kind of annoyed that Dragon Bash didn't come back and stuff like that, because, you know, it's cool seeing these, like, you know, how these worlds would have
Yeah.
their festivals and stuff like
Right,
that, and why they
right.
would in taking part in them. I just think it's really cool, and
Right.
I don't know.
how-
I mean, maybe it seems as a silly thing because, you know, kind of kiddie, and, you know, it's like, oh, it's Christmas and you're playing a video game. But I mean, we're playing games, you know.
yeah, exactly. It's
That makes
just
it more
it's just
social.
part of it.
And I
Exactly.
think that the holidays that mirror the real world, like Halloween and Christmas and anything they do for Easter. I know in Guild Wars 1 they had like eggs that would drop and stuff.
Yeah.
And that connects you with the real world. Like you said, what was I doing for Halloween? You can say something in the real world and in whatever video game you're playing,
Yeah,
if they have Halloween.
exactly.
And then you have, like you said, Dragon Bash. Then you have, well, this is also a world all its own. Because
Yeah.
they have their own festivals, Dragon Bash, and they have the you know, that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm sad Dragon Bash didn't come back too, because it totally would have made sense. Okay, the last one was for Zaitan. This one's for
Exactly.
Morgemoth.
It would have been so
Exactly.
good.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have
like if
green holographic dragon wings.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been
and you
so
know,
good.
actually, it's like I'm like really curious to see what destroyed Lion's Arch it's going to look like in Winter's Day, because like
I think it would be really pretty.
Because
like,
of that, they didn't even announce that they were actually going to have Halloween until like the last minute. I mean, they added some gem store Halloween stuff, but because Lion's Arch was destroyed, we didn't even
Yeah.
know. Are they going to decorate the destroyed Lion's
Right.
Arch? Are they going to move it somewhere else? What are they going to do? So it was kind of like, I was nervous a little bit. I'm like, they better have
Yeah.
Halloween. Like, I love Halloween. They better do it. So, and they've already announced Winter's Day. I think it's December 16th
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
Winter's Day. So I'm really glad that they, you
Are
know,
gonna-
quelled my
Yeah.
fears, you know, for
Yeah.
having Winter's Day.
And I mean, the fact that obviously they went ahead with Halloween and just decorated the Broken Lion's Arch, you know, obviously that means that they do the same for Winter's Day, and I think it'll look really, really cool, with all the Christmas decorations and stuff like that up.
I think it would be appropriate
yeah,
if the lion statue was fixed for Winter's Day.
yeah,
I think. Well, I think that'd actually be good. I think they should start rolling out these things, you know, where things are slowly getting patched up and stuff like that. I mean, though I did see something in the forums where someone was talking about Lion's Arch and whether they'll slowly roll out like fixes to it and stuff. And one of the devs or one of the staff commented saying that apparently there are more workers in Lion's Arch now. Or
I've
something,
heard that too. Yeah, that there's
and they've
more
been adding
workers.
more people, like, you know, hitting away at rocks and stuff like that, which is, I think, is really cool.
Yeah.
yeah, me too.
I mean, ArenaNet are really
Nice.
good at doing those like stealth patches, you know, like when
Oh, they're
the
so
waypoints
good at
start
that.
flickering.
Oh, I love
It's
that.
just
Stealth
and
patches,
the
yeah.
vines popping up and stuff like that. I just think it was
Yes.
really,
Yeah,
they're really
I'm
good at
just
stuff
glad
like
that there's a community that notices that kind of stuff
Yeah,
and knows
totally.
how to share it and make that stuff known, because like it's stuff that
Yeah.
I you know, I wouldn't notice some extra workers in Lion's Arch probably,
Yeah.
you know, and
Totally.
my mind keeps going back to before the crate tower, Tower of Nightmares showed up, and with the Kessex Hills being, was completely logged, and all the logs were under the water because they were going to build the Nightmare Tower. And the fact that the players, that wasn't something they announced. The players noticed, hey, all the trees are gone in Kessex Hills. Like, what's going on? Yeah. And that just blew my mind, because it was like just out of, like, it wasn't something they announced. It was just something they put in there for people to find. It wasn't something they had to do. But it enhanced the world, and it wasn't just like, okay, one day there's a tower. No, they were slowly building it, and you noticed that they were, so you knew something was coming. That just, oh my gosh, it made me fall even more in love.
It's just really... It's good, and like you were saying, the community had been able to notice that stuff. It's just awesome. I think, like...
Super props to all you people who noticed that stuff, and oh my gosh.
I think we're really lucky to have a community like that. I mean, that just comes together. I mean, before, we haven't started talking about the trailer and that yet, but just within the first 10 minutes of that being released, you see on Reddit everyone's discussing, speculating and stuff like that, and it's just like, it's so cool that we're kind of all pretty much on the same wavelength with this stuff, like the lore and the story, and we all have the same passion. It's not like, the bits are broken off. There's people that just play PvP and all this stuff, but when it matters, we all do come together and start talking about stuff like that. And kind of tying that back to Halloween as well, you can, everyone is getting together for these like festivals and stuff like that. I mean, you can see it just because the price of normal T6 mats have like gone up loads, and that's because there's less people farming them because they're all together doing the Halloween content. I think that's really cool. Like, it's actual like evidence that people are actually playing the stuff that they've put out, and obviously enjoying themselves and all playing together. I think that's really cool.
Well, we can move on to the trailer.
Yes.
Because you made some really good points there about people. I mean, it came out a little later than I expected. I was like sitting here, waiting to do my reaction video, and I'm just like, come on.
I was waiting for hours.
Release it. And so I watched it, and while I'm editing my video, and I'm going, I'm watching it again as I'm editing, and I'm going, oh, look at that, what is that tower? What is that thing? And like you said, people put online, okay, well, this is the Durban Priory, and this is, inside the Durban Priory, and this is, in the Maguma jungle, and I'm just like, you guys are awesome. These are the packed flags, because I was like, I know I should recognize that, but I'm not sure, because,
Yeah.
I think that's like a really great, it's like a really great indication for the health of a community if like they're like really like dissecting every little bit of something like this and just speculating and talking about it. That's a really good, I think, indication for your community, because it means that it's like alive, quite very much alive actually.
Yeah, I think what's good about that as well, like, I mean, ArenaNet put in the trailer, they had the runes or the characters or whatever from like the old languages and stuff like that in there. There's a lot of clues in the trailer, and I think like that's good because obviously we can see that and whatever, but it shows that ArenaNet kind of respects us, like our intelligence and kind of knowledge of the lore and stuff like that, like the community as a whole, to be able to put those kind of things in there and to know that there's probably going to be people that are going to be able to work that out. They're not giving us these really stupid, bland, obvious trailers, really, just, because that's what they think we're like. They know that there's people in the community that are going to be able to go right in.
Every little thing.
And I think that's really cool that there's like, it's a really big sign of like respect from the developers to like the fans, like we know that you guys are smart and you know your stuff, or at least that you're passionate enough to try and work it out. So, they're going to put that stuff in there for us. And I think that's really, really cool. And not a lot of game developers will do that kind of thing. You look at a Call of Duty trailer or something, it's just a trailer, This is like them telling us secret messages like within the trailer, and I think that's really, really awesome.
I love that they say that they love reading our theories, and they love seeing how off some people can be and how spot on some people can be, and they're just like, wow, they figured it out, but you don't know who figured it out. And I love that.
Yeah, like, I mean, like I'm just like so psyched that we can possibly get some of this like content about those gods that were such a big thing in like the original games, and like tying them to these elder dragons, because I find I personally won't ever get tired of the elder dragons because there's like so many of them for one thing, and then each one can have so much content to them, like Mortemoth we're seeing can be a complete, season expansion, whatever.
Yeah.
I really love that because like each one can be more than just like a typical big scaly dragon. They're like essentially, well, gods themselves. Really, they're like entities all unto themselves. Like they can be they can look all kinds of ways, and be all kinds of things. And I really love that. They add a really cool flavor to each one, and just bring in the whole idea of these gods that are so interesting to begin with all by themselves. That will we may not see the gods per se, but like obviously something's going to happen with them by showing us something connected to them is going to happen, and that's really exciting. I find even like me as a non-Guild Wars 1 player, I'm getting totally psyched by this because it's like this is cool stuff.
Yeah, I think they obviously listened to a lot of feedback on season 1 because season 1 was kind of mismatched, like it was kind of here, there, and everywhere, like, and then at the end tied it all together, sort of. I think it's really good. They obviously listened to what people were saying about that, and now bringing in these ties to the old lore and stuff like that. And I think it's the story this time. I mean, we saw that with the first half of season 2. Like, it feels a lot more important. It feels not only because now they've obviously announced it's going to be deep rooted in the past, but just because we're actually at the point now where a dragon's waking up and doing stuff. And I think like it's just tying like the past into like what's really going on in the present. And I think like it's meeting everyone's needs. The people that really reminisce the old stuff and really want to bring that stuff back in, and also the people that are completely new to the game in the story and are just seeing the effects that's going on in the world right now. And I think that's really, really cool. And they draw attention to the fact that we've never really been around a point where a dragon's like woken up, and they were like, okay, when Zaitan did it or rose up, like,
we heard about it, we read about it, but we weren't there in game seeing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we are like making history.
Exactly. Like Krokotork woke up. Oh yeah, there's the Crystal Desert and all this stuff. Like,
right, there's the Dragon Brand,
and it's just the Dragon Brand died. Yeah. And then like just stuff like that. Like, oh, the Norn were pushed out of their home and stuff like that by Jormag. So, what's gonna happen now? Like, I mean, they've shown off like huge attacks, taking Belinda, which wasn't that sad, but it was still the Pale Tree. The Pale Tree was the big deal. Like, it can attack anywhere, anytime, pretty much. The dragon's reaches, all that stuff, and it's like. Yeah. Big things could definitely happen, and that's what they've been stressing a lot with this trailer. And I mean, it's just psyched everyone up in the space of like a day. Like 10 minutes after the trailer was out, everyone, like the whole community was just like buzzing with excitement and speculating, and I don't know, it's just so good. They know how to turn things around. Like people were annoyed at the Halloween stuff. There was the whole gem exchange change that they did, adding the limit and stuff like that, and everyone was kind of like, oh, it's, and then just click of their fingers, everyone's like, yeah, and it's just so good. And I think it really just goes to show like how good the story is, how good this season's been, and also just how much people love the game. Like, people will hate on ArenaNet every now and then, they'll get annoyed about stuff, but like at the core of it doesn't really matter. This is what everyone loves, and this is what they're doing, and I think it's great.
Yeah, like I got a kind of theory for this, is that I'm thinking like where Mortemoth will like rise and open up is that not only is it going to open up like a new permanent zone, but I have a feeling that could really transition really well to having a place for a brand new playable race to open up there, because then you can have like a starting zone there for like a new playable race. So wherever Mortemoth opens up, you could have essentially a new race migrate there or arise from there, and that will be their opening. And that could even transition well to things like the orders and stuff, to the personal story, because you can have their their story, and then like when that's done, it's like, well, they like go pick the order because now
we have to fight the dragon
Mortimer,
because they
it's
exactly.
is part
home.
of all of his buddies. He's now part of the whole dragon threat or something. Overall, I don't know.
No, totally. There's so much they could do with this, and obviously no one's really sure where they're gonna go in terms of an expansion or what they're working on behind the scenes and stuff. But yeah, I think you'd be stupid to think that they were separate things. Like, obviously the Living World team is going to be talking to these people who are developing like the more long-term projects and stuff like that, and I think they could very well tie in together, like really, really well. Yeah, like the new zones, adding bits to the map, and yeah, like a starting zone or anything. They could throw and the thing is as well, like the whole personal story was tied in with Zaitan, and now we've got this other dragon. Now it'd be kind of the perfect time. Like, they're talking about the end of the season being about rallying all of the forces up to go to war again against another dragon. So what better time really to introduce a new race to jump in on killing a dragon? Like, please.
I could kind of see them doing like at this pace of seasons. If they conclude this season before Winter's Day, I could see them rolling out at least like another 2 more seasons, and then have an expansion at the end of that, because then you'd have like 4 solid seasons of Living World, and then that could lead in really well to like a full-on expansion, and they could hopefully, like over Winter's Day or into January, just finally give an announcement saying, okay, we're doing like 2 more seasons, and then the expansion comes out at the end of the year.
I think that would piss people off. Yeah, we're working on an expansion. It'll be out in 2 years.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go through 2 more years of Living Story first. I think that would make people mad. I don't care. I love Living World.
Yeah.
But
with
how
would be a lot of
people
people annoyed.
are just begging for an expansion, I think if you announce an expansion and it's not coming out within 6 months, people are gonna rage.
I mean, they have spoken about expansion content in the past. They've always said that we're working on at least that type of content. Might not necessarily be an expansion,
right.
But new races, new zones, all that stuff. Like, they've said that it's coming, and they've actually since since season 1 properly got like towards the end of it. Like, it's been since then that they've actually been a bit more quiet about that kind of stuff. But all before that, they were talking like quite often about how they were eventually going to bring that stuff to it. So I think it's pretty obvious that they are going to work on that. They're working on that stuff to bring in, but it's just a matter of when. And I'm really interested to, I really wanted just someone to ask them whether season 3 is going to be coming next year, because that would be a definitive like, this is their plans for next year. This is what's going to be going. And I really hope they wrap up season 2 before Winter's Day. Just because I don't want to go through last Winter's Day again, where we were waiting for the finale
Well, I think there's going to be a cliffhanger either way, whether it's the end of season 2 or not.
100%. It's just, I got so sick of Winter's Day just because I really wanted to know what happens.
And that was season 1. That wasn't nearly as exciting as season 2.
100%.
Yeah. So that, I kind of agree. That wrapping it up. They keep teasing this unforgettable end to season 2, and at the same time, if it's something completely world-changing, like Mordremoth actually rises, like basically we fail.
I hope we see that.
Mordremoth actually rises and completely changes the landscape of Tyria. We're going to have to deal with that through Winter's Day. Oh my god, the dragon rose or whatever it is. Let's party! Winter's Day! Yay!
You can just forget about that for about 3 weeks and then move on to the others.
Okay, we can't deal with this right now, so we're going to go party for a couple weeks.
Exactly.
We'll be back. Just hang on.
Which, is a totally realistic reaction. People have done that throughout time and space, and even now, confronted with like insane crap, he would just be like, party. They'll just
I can't deal with this right now.
Exactly. Yeah. No, gonna party.
See that? Yeah, that makes me think that they're probably gonna, there'll be a break for Winter's Day, and the bit before that won't be too heavy, just so we can actually still realistically have Winter's Day, and then finish it off like they did season 1. I don't want that
know,
though
I don't
at
know, 'cause
all.
they
I
haven't
really.
said
But then
if-
again, that means more
it's ending.
updates. If we have to wait through Winter's Day, at least means that we're gonna have more than like 4 updates in the end of season 2. It's a tricky decision. I don't
Right.
know. The
And
thing is, as well.
they did call this break the halfway point.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it's a
So
mid-season break, right? So
Right.
surely
So
it
they're not
should
going to have
be
a
4
mid-season
afterwards.
break and then have another break. So
Yeah.
I think that actually is a pretty good indicator that it's going to end. We're going to get the finale to season 2 by Winter's Day.
Yeah, that's what I expect to happen. But the thing is, then is like, what happens after Winter's Day? Then
Right.
I would think like another feature pack. That's my feeling.
Yeah,
is
that's
that
actually decent.
they throw in another feature pack for like February or so like
Yeah,
that. Then we like get more information of when season 3 kicks up again, which would probably be March or something. And
well, if you think, right,
I'm gonna
okay,
wait.
so like
No.
season 2 was what, 8 updates? That's 4 months. So could we maybe go like the end of season 2, then Winter's Day, then maybe a month's break or something like that after that, just because they'll need time. Then like another 8-part season, and then maybe on the anniversary expansion, that'd be cool. And then
Oh, you see, that's what I was like thinking.
and then they
Cool.
could, and then kind of like how they did with the launch, like there was a couple updates like Lost Shores and Halloween and stuff like that. But maybe expansion comes out around the anniversary, and then not much. Say the next season starts when Flame and Frost did, kind of time. Like, so we have those few months to work through the expansion content, and then the year after that is when the kind of next season starts in the
Well,
kind of expansion world.
Right.
Yeah, because like that's what I was thinking. Because this season looks like it's only going to be like 8 episodes, that they could conceivably fit like 2 separate seasons in 1 year.
Yeah,
And that's why I was
exactly.
thinking, like after Winter's Day, they could actually finally announce, saying at the end of this year, like after these 2 seasons will kind of bridge us into what we consider a expansion will happen at like just before or after the next Winter's Day, like, so it'd be just essentially 1 year kind of wait once it's announced or something.
Because they
Which
could,
I
yeah,
would
they could
hope,
totally,
but
they
I don't
could
know.
definitely fit in a season 3 next year before, I don't know, like August time, the anniversary kind of time,
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
which
easily.
would tie quite nicely in with the whole, they've been doing those CDIs on the forums, like the community development, whatever, I don't know what it stands for,
Yeah.
but like, and there's one that was started like yesterday on raid content,
Raiding.
like asking people
Right,
in the
right.
community
Oh,
what
yeah.
they'd want in raids. Now, they're not going to be able to feasibly kind of take all that and then plan it and then develop it before, the start of next year at all. But they could easily work it in for like next August. And so the Living World team,
Yeah,
who
for fall,
have taken 2 breaks this year, one was for the Chinese release. So obviously that was, the Chinese release. The second one was around the feature pack. But the feature pack for us really just brought in stuff from the Chinese release. So that stuff was already developed and sorted, so they didn't really need to take that break to work on it or whatever. So the breaks this year could very easily be working on either the Living World content for next year before the supposed expansion, or just finalizing the expansion for us, which would be cool. So my ideal kind of setup would be end of season 2 and then Winter's Day. They take the time in Winter's Day, obviously, to have Christmas themselves and all this stuff, but also to finish wrapping off stuff for season 3 or something. Then maybe a month or 2 after January, and then season 3 starts for 4 months or whatever it is. Then a little break before August where expansion, boom, and then January or February of the year after that would be when the next season starts after
Yeah.
we've got all the expansion, because that would still give us time to work on the expansion content and play through that and stuff like that, because they're not really going to do a Living World while there's actually expansion stuff to play as well.
No, would not expect them to.
I
I
think
wouldn't
that
want to. I'd be playing the expansion.
Yeah.
There's no Living World on top of an expansion. No.
I think that's like the most realistic setup in terms of like time management and stuff like that, because I don't think they're really going to give us. They'd be silly to throw more breaks on us, given the fact that we've already had like 2 breaks of content this year, and the fact that so far we've had the same amount of season 1 content this year as we have season 2 so far. It's kind of like, they've been working on something and they've had to take breaks that for the stuff we've actually got and know about. They've not really needed. So
how spoiled are we? God, they've
I
already
was just
taken 2
thinking
breaks
that.
this year. I mean, can't give them another one.
I am sorry, Arena. I'm not being rude. I'm trying to work out what you're doing. But yeah,
Well, yeah, because
it's working for them.
They've like just been too secretive. That's the problem. Like I just wish they'd just be a bit more open about this stuff. And it's like it's like a matter of like better late than never. Like it's definitely never going to be never. Like it's just late, and whenever it comes, it'll come. But it can just be frustrating as hell. So,
but at the same time,
it's
I can
still
understand
great, but
that they don't want to make promises that they're not sure when they're going to be able to come through on them. I mean, people wouldn't be crying about precursor crafting. People wouldn't be as mad about stuff like guild halls and precursor crafting if they didn't before 2 years ago, if they didn't say, oh, we're working on it, it's coming 2 years later. If people were just like, can we please have this, and they didn't promise it.
Yeah, totally. Which is also the guild halls thing is another thing they were talking about on the forums and working with the community on how to develop and how they would want it. So it's just another thing that they could throw out maybe in a feature pack or an expansion, which would be really good. But yeah, I mean, how long did Guild Wars 2 take to come out, though? It's their kind of way of doing things, I think, where they'll announce something, or they'll at least say that they're working on something, but it takes ages for them to actually release it. It's the whole when it's ready thing. So
yeah,
I don't know. I would like it if they announced, like, say there is an expansion coming, and, even if it was a year later that it came out, I would still have spent that whole year not wishing for something like an expansion because I would know it's on the way. It would just be a matter of when. So I think people would have a lot more faith in them if they did, say that this stuff was coming and you don't have to keep asking. It's fine. Yeah. Just wait for it. But then it's the whole people getting annoyed about waiting for it and all this stuff. So yeah. It's the whole thing of like, would you rather be told something was coming and wait 5 years for it, or just go along 5 years blind and then be told it's coming out like next week? Because you'd obviously want to wait less time, but you would spend that whole time not knowing what the hell they were doing. So it's a really hard thing to juggle, like to weigh up the benefits on both sides.
And I mean, like this game has like lasted now for about 2 years, I think, since it came out.
Yeah,
I mean that's like pretty good for the game. And I mean I can't remember if we were talking about this when we first went live, but I mean, like there were so many people when the game first came out that were like screaming like, "Oh, there's no content at the end, and the game's dead," and all this. And yet, I mean, they've like had mistakes, but they've had some great stuff, and they're still thriving. Because whenever I log in, I mean, there's tons of people there, like mega server or not. There's there's a lot of people playing and a lot of people talking about it. So, I mean, I only see like this game looks to me like it's getting a lot better. Like it's its popularity and community seems to be rising, not decreasing, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, definitely. The thing is, it's tricky with our community. I think it's like when stuff like the trailer comes out, you can see everyone getting together and getting excited, and it's kind of like I think people complain because they really want more stuff to do. It's not like they're complaining because the game's bad. They're complaining because they love it so much.
They love it so much that they've played the content to death.
Yeah,
and they
exactly.
Want more.
Like the people that complain, on Reddit are like the same people that are, while they're typing out that rant on Reddit, they're logging into the game, just waiting for the patch to download or something. Like it's not. I don't think it's that big a deal. I think everyone, people are annoyed because they care so much. It's not like other games where people are just ranting because it's actually bad, or they feel sad or angry or whatever.
Yeah, because when people have like hurled nasty things to the game and whatnot, it's like when I was like watching one of their like Ready Up things, and I'm a firm believer of finding out what like the writer or company actually are setting out to do before you give your own opinions on it. Which usually doesn't happen in YouTube land. People don't consider what the frickin' company or writer actually intends. They just go, well, this sucks because my opinion. But it's like it's like for Guild Wars 2, it's like, as they say in the Ready Up things, the two things they consider importance and what they put their effort into is like the living world stuff, which we've had a lot of, and it's coming out steadily, and their PvP stuff. Those are the two big, end game things, and that living world is essentially what the quote-unquote rating is for this game. And like it or not, that is what it is. And if you don't want that, if you don't like that, well, Sally, that's what this game is. So that's what it has.
I think it was...
that's the game that and the fact that it's a heavy exploration game and that it tries to do a horizontal pass. So if you don't want that, then try something else. And if you like this, then this is what it is, and accept it for what it is. And that's my.
I mean, like we know they're thinking about rating and stuff like that. So that's obviously on the horizon and stuff. But I think it was the latest episode of Points of Interest. It might not have been because I've been watching loads of old stuff as well recently. But I'm pretty sure it was where I think Colin said something like they're reaching a point with the game now where it's really cool because like the story is almost like the end game content, you have to be level 80 to enter Dry Top and stuff like that. And it's like and I think that's amazing because I think the vast majority of people, Guild Wars is always about the campaign, the story, the lore, everything like that, and obviously playing with other people and stuff. But so to reach a point where the narrative is like the main focus of the game, I think is perfect. Like I play games for the story. I like reading. I like stuff like that. And for me, like the lore and all this stuff is like my favorite part of all this. And so like the fact that that's like the end game, I just think is really, really cool. You get to play the personal story through leveling, and then there's more afterwards, which you can play as many times as you want, and it's free and every 2 weeks. I think this show is just becoming more and more like an advert for Guild Wars.
It's the butt kiss to Guild Wars too, but I mean, but we've like also got some serious critiques to it. But I mean, at the same time,
of course,
there's like so many people that go on and on and on in these tirades of the negative crap, and it's like, guys, there's a lot of good stuff here. Because one interesting thing I found was that when I was watching critiques of a certain other game that came out and has had some problems. But one of the things that they highlighted, which Guild Wars 2 does actually exceptionally well, is that when it came to the big raids, which were complicated and hard, and but the problem with their endgame raids and the problem with their leveling process, they don't get you invested very heavily in any original characters in the story. So there's no big characters to highlight. There's no Arthas of the Lich King that you're like, oh, that's Arthas, and oh, that's Garrosh, and all that kind of stuff. And in Guild Wars 2, it's like we have these big characters like Redlock Brimstone, and all this kind of stuff. And we've seen now Redlock Brimstone have a big part in one of these story endgame content. And Ellen Keel or Marjorie and the Pale Tree is that we've built up the characters throughout the leveling process, and now we're seeing the result of it, so that we have an invested interest. It can keep us invested in it, no matter what the actual gameplay content is, because the characters we've grown to become invested in and care about. It really helps the game, I think, be healthy that way. And this other game didn't have that. They didn't consider this, I guess, and it's been to its detriment. Whereas it's something that Guild Wars 2, as you're talking about, they focus on the story. They've done that really well. Yeah. And that's my end rant again.
You have to keep coming back to learn what happens to Timey. I mean,
exactly. I love her.
That you can connect with. I have to know what happens.
Yeah, totally. The fact that they even did that with that one Quaggan NPC. Like, they got the whole community so riled up.
Everybody, for whatever reason, just said, oh my god, Droober, we love you. And then when they killed him, it was like, people were upset. And that's the power that their characters can have. This little Quaggan who he didn't do anything. He just stood outside the bar and asked for money. That's all he was. But they made him lovable. And I even think it's through the things that they do outside the game, like social media. I mean, a community member named Drubert. The devs didn't come up with that name. they went on Twitter, and I think it was Peter Freeze went on Twitter and said,
oh,
I need a name for a really dopey, sad Quaggan. And people were giving their suggestions, and, you know, someone came up with Drewbert, and he said, that's perfect! And that was my first exposure to Drewbert, so then when I went in-game and saw him, I was like, there he is! That's Drewbert! And it made me excited, and it made you connect with him through stuff not even going on in the game.
Yeah.
And it was so cool, but then they killed him. It was really sad.
It's so good. That's amazing. No, I think that's what's so unique to the game, though. It's like I've been saying this whole time, the community is so different to every other game like it. And yeah, the fact that the story is pretty much is just like the main focus. Obviously, you want progression for your character, you want rewards, and a lot of people want the hardcore content, which they are obviously working on. But like, there's no other MMO where the story is this much of the main reason to play it. You know, there's a lot of other games you ask people who are, you know, on big high rating guilds or something like that, and they probably don't know as much about what's going on in the world as half the players of Guild Wars 2, because they are so invested in the story, and there's so many active community members that are, you know, I mean, it's just really good.
It's like watching Guild Wars 2 is more like watching a TV show or reading a series of books where you're invested in the story, and half of the reason most people are playing is the story, so you keep coming back. Whereas other games that just have gameplay, they can make all the upgrades to the gameplay and add new skills and add new abilities and add new effects all they want. You're still going to get bored of the base gameplay after a while. Unless you somehow lose, you know, this story doesn't appeal to you, you're not just going to get, I'm bored with this story. No, like every episode ends on a cliffhanger and you have to keep coming back to find out what happens. It's like a TV show, which is why I like the fact that they call them episodes and seasons.
Yeah.
Because it really is like a TV show.
It feels like that. And on top of that, like, the gameplay is really good. It's better than most of the gameplay focused games out there anyway. Like, and the stuff you can do is and the thing is as well, like, you can have like the best graphics, you know, all these hundreds of thousands of skills, but for me personally, if you don't give me like a story reason to use them, I'm not gonna find it fun. You know, like I'm one of those people that would way rather have like 2 buttons on the controller, just attack and something else.
Yeah, me too.
But give me a story to play through. That's enough for me. But you can give me 100,000 of skills and no plot. It's not fun, you know. I
You're only gonna have fun
I don't
for
feel
so
invested. Exactly. And those games focus on like character progression, loads, like, you know, this is the next bit of gear you get, and they just rinse and repeat it and stuff. I'm not attacking any specific games, by the way, but I'm just saying, like, what Guild Wars 2 does right is that you still feel like your character is important as anything. You still get all the gear and you can make them look as cool as you want. And the wardrobe and all the horizontal progression actually makes you more invested in your character as well, because it's like kind of like, you know, playing dress up and, you know, all this stuff. But you know, you're like, I've got this guy, I've worked really hard to get all ascended gear on him. I've worked and I've got a legendary, I've got all these cool armor skins now from working really hard on it. I've got like the fractal back piece because, you know, I've been playing the end content and stuff like that. But there's still, like, the main thing is still like the story that's carrying on through. And I think like there's no games that really balance like high-end gameplay, like the really good combat mechanics and the story in such a really unique way like that. It's so good. I love it.
I think that's a good place to end the show right there. Cool. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me on the GuildGab, and thank you all for watching so much. You can find the links to all of us. I'll put annotations on the screen. The links to find our Facebooks and our YouTubes and all that fun stuff are down in the description. And we'll see you next time, maybe with 3, maybe with 4. I don't know. I don't know what face we'll have down here, but hopefully we'll have.
We shall see if Alex and Corvus are in fact 2 different people or the same. I think they're the same. But...
you know, it's Halloween, so I'm actually Alex dressed up as Corvus right now.
Oh,
you know,
nice!
Okay.
Bravo,
so it's all been
bravo.
It was all a big trick.
Now it makes sense.
Bravo! Oh yes.
All right, guys, we will see you in episode 5, and see you next time.
Sayonara.
Bye.
Bye.